Okay, welcome to Prospect Sports Weekly, brought to you by the Prospect Athletic Boosters. I'm Henry Buelow, joined alongside Jack Cloney. Today we are sitting down with head coach Dan Deboeuf and wide receiver Nate Cichy. Thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Just a question for Coach Deboeuf to start off. We were just curious, what the expectation is going into Friday, going against, obviously, from what we've been able to understand, a lot bigger of an opponent like Stevenson.
Yeah, a big opponent, but more importantly than that, a very good opponent. They were a quarterfinal team in 8A last year, so a super high-level program. They do a really nice job. Like you said, big school, nice facilities. But really, it makes it more exciting for us to know that we're going to have a test right away as opposed to going in a game that kind of is a trial run. We got to be ready to go from the get-go.
Is there anything you do different when you're going against a better team compared to, say, a weaker conference opponent?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think the focus continues and will always continue to be about trying to be the best versions of ourselves. Really, it comes down to our best is good enough, so we got to make sure we're at our best. Of course, we're going to look at our opponent and game plan and prepare like anyone should, but we're going to focus on ourselves. And I just think that by having a really good couple of opponents to start the year, the sense of urgency is definitely there, which has pushed us to try to squeeze everything we can out of each practice.
Yeah, obviously, playing really good teams the first 2 weeks, does that kind of help you guys later in the season, you think?
Yeah, that's the goal, right? That's why over the last 6 years, I've tried to gone out and find the toughest opponent we can find for week one to really have that test and try to prep us to take that next step as a program and make a deep playoff run.
All right. One for Nate is so obviously after a huge breakout season last year, how do you plan on carrying the momentum on this year?
I would say a big thing is as a returning varsity guy on offense, I think bringing the leadership to the guys that haven't been in a varsity spot before is the biggest thing. Obviously, the stats for us, we don't really record stats very much, so I would say I don't want to classify it as another breakout season, but I want to classify it as our offense having a breakout season as a whole. Points per game, the record is 44, so that's what we're aiming for. I think we definitely have the tools to do it, and with the help of Coach Deboeuf calling plays, I think definitely a possibility.
Do you are you expecting the offense to take a big step this year compared to last year, or?
I mean, our offense was great last year. I mean, we had a ton of great guys like Noah and Carlucci. I think we got off to a slow start though, and I think that's something this year that we've been working.
Do you are you expecting the offense to take a big step this year compared to last year, or?
Working on a lot in practice, and it's not going to happen again, I'd say, with the guys that we have right now.
All right. Is there anything specific, Coach Deboeuf, that you've been doing to try and make sure we start hotter than last year?
I wouldn't say necessarily any wholesale changes, just more focused on how we practice and how we operate. What we've talked about a lot as a team over the last month or so is really trying to be where our feet are. When you get to this part of the year, like we'll use today, for example, it's easy to wish away Wednesday just because we want to get to Friday. I'm just as excited as these guys to play in the game be a part of the game on Friday. But we have to make sure we're being where our feet are and getting the most out of every moment we have together. And then the other thing with that is, at this point of the year, a lot of times you forget to enjoy the process of what we're doing, where you just can't wait to get to the first game. You can't wait to get to the games. And then all of a sudden, before a blink of an eye, it'll be the postseason, and it could be your last game. You never know when that's going to take place. And you look back and you wish you would have enjoyed the journey a little bit more. So I know from a coaching perspective as well as a player's perspective, we want to make sure we're enjoying our time together.
All right, yeah. So obviously you have quite a few new people starting this year. So I was wondering what are the biggest standouts this year compared to last year's team?
Yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good mix of. I mean, if you look at, we've got 4 receivers coming back that all started a game last year. So to have 4 guys come back that can catch the ball and do different things on the edge with experience is exciting. And then Shea Lewis played a ton for us last year at left tackle. And then Joe Morales is another guy who's back. So it's a good combination of some really key guys that are back. But then it's also on the offense. It's been fun to watch the growth of some of the guys that are stepping in. You think of our backfield will be 2 juniors with Matthew Donnelly and Jackson Cichy. Both have matured a ton this offseason, both physically and mentally. And I think both of those guys are not going to be a surprise after a first couple weeks when people understand how good of players that both of those guys are.
Yeah, so like looking beyond this week's game, do you have like any goals individually and for the team as a whole?
Yeah, it's easy to want to look long term, right, and try to make a run at this thing. But really, my focus is about today's practice, tomorrow's practice, and our game Friday, and then we'll reevaluate. It's got to be a constant reevaluation, and I think our players can speak to that. Everything we do on a daily basis, the coaches are constantly reevaluating, trying to tweak things, change things, whether that's the practice schedule or what we're doing in the weight room or what we're doing strength and conditioning wise. It's got to be a constant change to try to get the very most out of each and every day. And if we do that, then you'll get to the end and feel good about where you're at. If we can enjoy the day, get the most out of each and every day, I think the results on Friday nights are going to take care of themselves. But if you want to be upfront and honest, we've talked about it with our leadership council, with our players. I think it's been 4 years in a row where we've lost in the second round. I think this group is determined to try to take that next step as a program and get back to playing for some names that have games. Games that have names. There you go.
Yeah, so what are like some of the biggest things you do both like, in and out of practice to ensure that, everybody on the team is ready to compete on those Friday night games? Is there anything like in particular that you guys do?
I think one special shout out that is definitely deserved is Coach Janish. My whole coaching career, I've always done a lot of the strength and conditioning stuff myself. And to have somebody who is as knowledgeable and as smart as he is to challenge some of my thinking. And the other part that's really great about what he does is everything has data. So we're constantly looking at data, whether it's a vertical jump, a sprint, how fast we can move the bar on a specific lift. So going back to that, constantly like reevaluating, we can look back at our data from last year at this exact day to know are we where we need to be, are we ahead of where we were a year ago, etc. So a big shout out to him. I think strength and conditioning has been a big part of what's made us a good program, and continuing to tweak that, hopefully that can take us to be an elite program.
I think also like shout out to the trainers too, like Shannon. You said out of practice, how do we like conduct ourselves? I think a big thing is a lot of guys will go to the trainer when they're banged up, and she does an awesome job of getting us back to be able to play in the game on Friday.
That's awesome.
Question for Nate: do you like kind of have any individual goals for this year? Obviously, congratulations on your commitment to Harvard and all.
Thank you.
Like looking forward, like throughout the year, do you have any specific goals?
I mean, obviously, I like think about stuff that I want to do as a player, but I've just been trying to get the mindset of the team over the individual. Like if we're gonna go out and score 44 points a game, like that's what I want to do. I think if you really want individual, I'd say on more of like a personal note, try and just beat Frank Covey's stats. If you want me to be completely honest with you, like that's what it is. But I think I would be more happy to see the entire team have success than just that moment, which is something I thought a lot about in the off season. But as we've been going, like in the summer and the fall, I realized, like a lot of these guys have been playing with my whole life, and I want to see them succeed more than I do.
Yeah, I mean, like, just one more thing was, like, going into a matchup against a team like Stevenson, so they're obviously, like, a lot bigger of a program. Do you guys, like, look at that any differently than you would a conference opponent? Or
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're a bigger program. They're a bigger school,
yeah, that's
sure.
what I meant.
As far as, like, the size and growth of our program, that's something that we're really proud of. Our whole program, we're sitting at about 170 athletes right now, and when I got here 8 years ago, we had under 70 total for freshman through senior. So super proud of our growth there. And then to circle back, like just to play a primetime program like Stevenson, it just makes it more exciting, right? And it gives you that level or that sense of urgency that we're not going to have a game or two to kind of jog into the season. We gotta dive right into the deep end, and that's what we have to do if we want to achieve our goal of kind of making that deeper push.
Yep.
All right. And thank you guys for joining us. We wish you guys the best of luck on Friday. We would like to wants to thank the Prospect Athletic Boosters for their support of Prospect Sports Weekly. Be sure to tune in next week for both football talk and other Prospect sports as we continue into the season.
This has been Jack Cloney.
This has been Henry Buelow. Go Knights.